Hello, it's a tutorial about Git and GitHub. In this session, I'll just talk about only Git and then we'll talk about later about GitHub. So what is Git? It's a version control software which helps you to version your codes locally. Let's say you have a script app.py which have these 3 lines, and now if you do some changes here and for some reason your code breaks, so now there is no way to get back. You can't figure it out that where your code gone wrong. So what to do now? The first approach is to create a backup for your code. Just reserve one copy of your code and continue to build on the other one. If something breaks on the current code, then you can just delete this and start from the code that you have reserved before. Now, what's the problem with this approach? The number one problem and the most expensive problem is memory. See, in an original project, there are hundreds of files. Storing them or keeping a backup of the project every time during the building process will take an enormous amount of memory. For that, Git is the savior. Rather than duplicating the whole project, we can just store the changes in the scripts by using Git. So let's see how to do that. Here I have opened app.py file where it's just a simple program importing the operating system module in the Python and just printing the current working directory. So now it's working fine, I guess. Okay, so for some reason you have created some code here. For that, it's not working, it's giving you error, and you can't figure it out that where your error occurred and your code breaks and you want to go back to your previous position. So if the code is very small, then you can easily figure it out where the code goes wrong. But for the real life project where you write thousands of lines of code and the code is breaked into, or code is in a modular code and the whole code is not in a single file, then getting rid of your error is pretty much a nightmare. So the easy method is to go back to your previous state or go back to your starting state where you have started, or you can create a checkpoint and go back to the previous checkpoint. So for that, I have to create a Git file. So let's remove that, and this is the initial stage of the project where everything was working. So now I am creating a git.git file. So if you can see lsa, so there is no hidden file here, just the app.py. Now if I create a git init, it will initialize a empty git repository in that section or in that file. So for if you want to see the file, simple ls will not do the work because it's a .git file. So here you go, you can see it, the .git file. So now I can see the status of my code, that I have an untracked file which is app.py. So I have to tell the Git that to track the changes in my app.py file. So how can I do it? Git add app.py. Now app.py has been added. So if you are using VS Code or any kind of advanced IDE, you can see this kind of notation here, that A for added, U for unadded, and M for modified. So now I have to commit these changes. Git commit and give it a message that committed. Now it says that it has created a commit. That means it has created a checkpoint. So to see the checkpoint, we can always type here git log. So it is showing the hash of the commit. It's a unique hash, and also the time and date of the commit and the user who has committed it. So often getting rid of this thing is very difficult. It's a Vim editor, so for quitting you just have to hit Q. Now if we change something here, for the reason the code breaks and I have to create another commit, you can see showing you the M message. M for that is modified. So if I again type git status, it will say that the app.py has been modified. So I have to again add the modifications by typing git add app.py. It will add all the modifications. Now I have to create another commit for the changes. Let's say second commit. Second commit has been changed and it will show you all the insertion that has been happened here. Now if something breaks here, then we have to go back to our previous state. So look carefully here. So how can we go to our previous state? We have to see the git log, and that was our previous or our first commit. So copy a bunch of these here and type git checkout and that hash of your commit. Then it will go back to the previous state or the stage where you have started or created that commit or that checkpoint. Coming back from that is very easy. Git checkout main. So it will be the current state where you have worked before. So let's see what is going on here. So when we type git init, it initializes a empty git repository in the same root directory or the same parent directory where your files lies. Now when we say git add dot or git add the file name, the particular file name goes to a staging area or the file has been staged. Again, when you type git commit with a message, then the file is finally committed and created a checkpoint in the local memory. Summary is git file initialization command is git init. Adding files to the staging area is git add the file name particularly, or you can say git add star or git add dot to add all the files of your project to the staging area. And then to commit locally with a message, you can say git commit -m and your commit message. To watch all your commit logs, you can type git log. Roll back to your previous commits. It's very easy. You have to just type the git checkout and hash, which you will get from git log. To see the current status of your files, if you are not using any kind of advanced editor or IDE, you will just type git status.